Education meeting to order. The first thing we'll do is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Consent agenda, we have two items, approval of the minutes of the February 26th board meeting, as well as the statement of receipts and expenditures for February 2024. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any additional discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that passes. Grafton High School presentation.
Mr. Van Zandt, we will turn it over to you and your team.
Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for welcoming me to provide you with a presentation regarding Grafton High School and some of the cool things that are happening at GHS. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Now we're going to get started. All right, so it has been over the last number of years, I've enjoyed each and every time being able to present to the board. And I wanted to share just a little bit of history of some of the variety of things that we have presented to the Board of Education. Last year we talked about our ACT achievement goal, our Hawks grade point average improvement program, and a little bit about our world language department. The year before that, it was our new career internship course, the fabrication lab. We introduced a Herb Cole scholarship winner to you. AP capstone diploma program as that was being developed with our AP seminar and AP research. The Hawks Nest School stores, we were getting that off the ground. Some virtual learning opportunities back in 2021, and then all the way back to our schedule change implementation, which was us moving to our AB block schedule, which is the current schedule that we're in now. So you can kind of see, the variety over the course of time that we've had the opportunity to share with the Board of Education and anybody watching at home. So here's our agenda for this evening. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about Vision 2030 at Grafton High School. With the adoption of our strategic plan in Vision 2030, I want to talk a little bit about what that looks like at GHS and how we're starting down that path at the high school, provide a few highlights of that as well. And then the second focus will be a highlight of our career and technical education program this evening. We're going to go over numerous things. We have great celebrations to share with you from within our career and technical education program. We're going to talk about the state superintendent visit to Grafton High School, share a brief video with you that a couple of our students have created. Mrs. Stilo is going to talk to us a little bit about her team. Mr. Gain, we'll talk to him, Mr. Fullington, and then we have a couple of students here as well. Our recent competition winners. So the CTE theme of the evening will take place after we talk a little bit about Vision 2030. All right, so let's talk about Vision 2030. You've seen this graphic, obviously. We're going to talk tonight, we're going to focus on the student engagement and growth portion of Vision 2030 at Grafton High School. So that's the area that we'll talk a little bit about this evening, okay? So when you take a look at the key performance indicators under the college ready component of Vision 2030, we talk about college, career, life ready. There are a few factors that I want to go ahead and address with you this evening. One of them is our 11th grade statewide ACT composite score and the steps that we're taking to move to that area within our Vision 2030. And then related to that would be our district report card, achievement score, growth score, target group outcomes, things you've already heard us talk about as we've talked about the last release of our district report card. So we're going to everything that we're doing decision-wise, we're tying to Vision 2030. So I want to make sure that, just like our presentation this evening, we're tying that back to Vision 2030. One of the things that I wanted to share with you is our goal structure that we've developed this year as a result of adopting Vision 2030. So what I'm going to share with you is both a college-ready goal and a career-ready goal from our 300-day plan. So our planning process that we utilize to go through our professional development throughout the course of the entire school year. So what we've done is, with the adoption of Vision 2030, we've crafted a 300-day plan goal that is more of like the overarching or the umbrella of the goal followed by key performance indicator, and then our department and teacher goals as a result of that. So here's one example. So our college ready goal in our plan is during the 23-24 school year, teachers will utilize student data from aligned assessments, such as our common formative assessments and our standardized assessments, for example, our fall all-school testing day, to drive instructional practices within our classrooms in order to prepare students for post-secondary success as measured by progress toward District Vision 2030 readiness indicators. Okay? Then we tie the readiness indicator to it, which in this case, the key performance indicator is 11th grade statewide ACT composite score of 23.5, right? That's our long-range goal with that. And then each department and individual teacher will develop a goal, and this one aligns here. By spring of 2024, 100% of students in grades 9 through 11 will meet the ACT College Readiness benchmark for English as measured by spring standardized assessments. So I'm just providing you with one of our communication arts teachers' goal in the area of that English and how that ties back to the overarching goal that we're including within our 300-day plan. Where it indicates strategies, there are numerous strategies under each department's and teacher's goal that aligns to the indicator that then aligns back to the goal. So that's the structure that we've adopted this year with Vision 2030 coming into play. And then the next one is a career-ready goal. So during the 23-24 school year, students will be provided with academic experiences and enrichment opportunities to prepare them for career readiness as measured by progress toward the District Vision 2030 readiness indicators. Okay? The alignment here is 100% of our high school graduates will have at least one post-secondary experience. And then I'm just sharing one example from our counseling department, which was at the end of the 23-24 school year, 100% of GHS students in the class of 2025, so our junior class, will have completed or be registered for a post-secondary experience. Could be a course, industry cert, a qualifying work experience, and then the counseling team would list their strategies to accomplish that and to make that happen. So what I'm really trying to point out for you here is the overall alignment. So we were planning for Vision 2030 to be implemented, right? It didn't happen until the fall. We were planning before that, and we drafted our 300-day plan in that language and in that format so that it fit. So right from the start, we were able to kick this off, and we've been moving forward with this in a very positive manner. So I just shared the college and career goal with you and the structure of what that looks like and how we're working on it as a department and as departments and then as individual teachers. So what I'd like to do is just share a couple of highlights from what we've been doing with our 300-day plan. We showed you how the goals are set up and how they align. These are a few dates and things that we've accomplished. Way back on September 13th, we had our second fall all-school testing day, followed by our first afternoon of a career-related activity. So when I mentioned on the last slide these career-related experiences, so this resulted on September 13th of a career fair at Grafton High School in the afternoon following our all-school testing day. The same thing will be a similar thing will be occurring tomorrow with our spring all-school testing day, which I'll talk to you about a little bit later. Already on September 18th and October 13th, we were analyzing this data already in the fall based on what our students, how our students performed. On October 16th, we had our first Vision 2030 discussion in a faculty meeting. We introduced the framework. We talked through what it looks like. We started to have that discussion. We related it to the 300-day plan, and that was back in October. November 13th, we started to look at, based on our state report card results, our target groups, so identifying our target groups, identifying our room for growth as it was resulting from the state report card. Then back on December 11th, we were talking about the importance of embedding ACT concepts and questions into instruction. This has been a huge theme of the entire year. We talk about embedding versus just test prep. And we're talking about embed into the regular curriculum when it comes to our ACT-related concepts to help our students improve overall performance. Then, a really cool opportunity for our juniors. on February 23rd, the counseling team on our professional development day, where students did not have school, provided an opportunity for a second full-length practice ACT test that we had over 40 juniors come in for on their day off to take on February 23rd. So great idea by the counseling department, great commitment by our students to come in on a day off and to do that. First time we've done that, so less than a month before the assessment, they had another full-length opportunity. And then Mrs. Junker, once again, offered a month of prep for our students during the entire month of February with our second annual ACT Olympics. We announced our ACT Olympic Award winners this morning at an assembly with our juniors. So all 300-day plan activities and how they relate, a lot of those are relating to the college ready goal, the key performance indicator of the ACT, but it's all aligned. So those are the examples I wanted to share. I wanted to give you an update of what we're doing with Vision 2030. So Vision 2030, let's look ahead all the way to tomorrow. So about 12, 13 hours from now, we have a big day at Grafton High School. It's our all-school testing day. Our juniors will be taking the ACT plus writing. Our sophomores will be taking the pre-ACT secure, followed by an academic and career planning post-secondary visit. So we're going to take our sophomores to MATC. We're going to get them on a campus as a sophomore. We're going to talk about 2- and 4-year programs. UWM is joining MATC to have some great opportunities for our kids. So as sophomores, getting them on a campus and seeing what that's all about. Then our freshmen also take the pre-ACT secure in the morning. And then what freshmen are going to have is an opportunity to tour a local business. They're going to go to Capco. They're going to tour and then learn about all the different career-related opportunities at a manufacturing organization like Capco and how far it goes beyond manufacturing to those opportunities. Then they're going to split that with a community service project. So tomorrow we have Tom Stantons from Mel's Charities coming in. He's going to kick off the importance of service for our kids. And then I'm going to tie that into Life Ready Vision 2030, 25 hours of community service prior to graduation. So all freshmen are going to get that tomorrow. That's the Life Ready factor of Vision 2030. So that's what tomorrow looks like for our students. So while testing is the #1 focus and the priority that happens in the morning, everybody's ready to go. We had a great meeting with our juniors this morning. And then the afternoons look like that for freshmen and sophomores as well. And then, we'll take that data and that'll be a part of our school report card, but we'll analyze that closely once we have some of that to share with the board. So that is the first part of our presentation. And I really, really wanted you to see what was happening at the high school as it came to Vision 2030 and the board adopting our strategic format moving forward. Okay, so now more of the fun part of the program is talking to our students and our teachers from our CTE department. So we're going to move on to that. This is our CTE team right here. Picture taken last week. We have 8 wonderful teachers from our Family and Consumer Science department, our business department, and our tech and engineering team as well. They were thrilled to take this picture, right? You were. Yeah, it was awesome. And it turned out great, though. You guys all look great. So that's our team. Super proud of this team, and you'll know why here within a few minutes. So as I mentioned, 8 dedicated teachers in those areas. Why are we highlighting this team? It kind of came naturally with all of the different things that we've been recognized for recently. So #1, CTE month was the month of February, right? The connection to Vision 2030, Career and Life Ready, is huge. Dr. Underly, our State Superintendent of Public Instruction, reached out to Jeff, came to visit based on our CTE program. And then we've had recent recognitions with a WTEA Teacher of the Year Award that we'll talk about in a little bit. Our Grafton Chamber of Commerce 4 Under 40 award with one of our teachers. And then our Adam Technicians of Tomorrow champions right here as well. So I was talking to Jeff about what it is that I was going to focus on. It came into focus pretty quickly with some of those things that have all happened within a month. So within the last month, it's been a great opportunity to recognize our CTE team. Back to Vision 2030, our career ready component of this. If you take a look here, 100% of high school graduates will have had at least one post-secondary experience, and students have selected a career pathway by graduation and have made progress towards that career by taking at least one course in that pathway. So both of these will apply to our conversations moving forward this evening. All right, some of you have seen this already with our state superintendent visit, but this is great information to share with the rest of the board and the public as well. Our CTE enrollment trends have been trending in a positive direction over the course of the last number of years. Our business and IT requests, these are student requests to take courses. You can see a great trend in our business and IT department. You can see a great trend within our family and consumer science department, and a positive trend within our technology and engineering department. So solid requests when you look at the numbers and you see 420, 450, 413. You also notice that it's pretty similar and pretty split in terms of how our students are spending their time and what classes that they're taking. Not one of, it's not that one of them has all of the requests and one does not. So it's really pretty cool how it's split like that as well when you take a look at the data. The post-secondary experience data from the class of 2023, it's a goal that we've worked on this goal the last, since I've been here, the last 9 years. We've made a lot of progress with this. But the cool thing about this is we went from, so 73% of our class of 2023 completed an advanced placement course, okay? A third of them completed a biomedical science course, about 10%, a little bit more with an engineering course. Then you can see business, family, consumer science. The cool thing, it's all cool, but on the end, the YA and career internship, like almost 20% of our kids are getting that experience. That was not the case prior. And the industry credentials, a third of our seniors left with an industry credential. Brenda will talk more about that in a minute or so. But those are things that we've really worked hard on improving, and it's great to see that happening. And then this is a stat you've seen over time. But we've working hard to get to 100% of our kids completing a post-secondary experience, kind of stuck at that 98%, and we're looking to move beyond that. So important data. I wanted to share that with everybody before we get started and before we do a little bit of celebrating here this evening. All right, so how great was this? I sit down with Jeff at my monthly evaluation conference meeting, and he says, hey, the state superintendent's going to come visit. I'm like, great. I'm like, let's do it. So we started to work with her on an agenda, and it was all CTE based. That's why she wanted to be here. So this is her in our advanced foods and restaurant management course, in the automotive area, in our Hawks Nest school store, visiting with our intro to education instructor and a couple of students, also a youth apprenticeship student, and a career internship student to show the well-roundedness of our students as well within this area. So I've got two students here in the back, our tech guys here, digital video design. We've got Ryden, Lukey, Gabe, Selko. They produced a 3-minute video of this. So it's going to give you a quick summary just in 3 minutes. Kara, if we could play that, that'd be great.
I just wish I had a fraction of this when I was in high school.
Oh, I know. It's
All right. I'll give him a round of applause. And great job. I loved their approach of just utilizing images and pictures. There's, no voice with that just until the end. So very intentional with that as well, which is great. So we're going to approach this. I'm just going to do some Q&A with our guests tonight. That's what we're going to do here, some question and answer. They received these questions in advance, so I'm not putting them on the spot. And they know who's going to answer what. But gentlemen, how did you prepare specifically to tackle a project of this nature?
Well, I first started talking with Ryden about it. Started kind of brainstorming ideas on camera angles, equipment, microphones. If there's any like tripods, monopods, anything like that. Who all will be wearing a mic? And then once we kind of got an idea from that, I was in contact with my church's audio-visual technician, and we kind of bounced ideas back and forth, and he gave me a couple of really good tips I'm using in the future. And then it turned out great. So.
Awesome. Yeah, very cool. What were you most proud of with the project, and then what was the greatest challenge?
I was most proud of using multiple camera angles and kind of mixing them together, using some from Ryden, some from mine. And then at the end there, I really like that. I really wish I had a fraction of this.
And I'm going to talk about some of the greatest challenges. So a couple of the things about this project, one was the audio. We had 2 mics going. We had one on the superintendent, and then we bounced one around all over the place. So some of it was getting the mic from one place to another to a different person. And then also along with that, in post-editing, we realized that it decided to sync the mics up. So sometimes we'd have one mic in a completely different room and one mic in another, but they'd both be going at the same time, and we couldn't really split them. So we had some fun with that post-edit. Thank goodness that he has some connections, so he was able to fix some of those things. Some other things was getting shots without interrupting. It was a really big group of people, and there was like 8 to 10 cameras. Like we counted it was insane, and it was like, we're probably some of the least important. We got to get out of the way of her people, and so that was fun, getting out of the way and trying to get good shots without having 50 other people in it. That was fun as well. And then another thing was just getting the mics in advance. So I'd have Gabe stay back, and I'd run ahead to another classroom and just bouncing back and forth and trying to get multiple camera angles. That was a lot of fun, but also a fun challenge.
Great. All right, so how is having the flexibility of completing an independent study in digital video design? You're all like year 2 digital video design independent study. How has that helped you enhance your knowledge and also support the school?
Yeah, so I'm also going to talk on this one a little bit. So a little bit what I love about the program that we have with the business department and enhancing my knowledge is all the different equipment we have. We have cranes, we have sliders, we have multiple different drones, we have like 5 different types of cameras that I can think of off the top of my head. So being able to get experience with all that different equipment and how to edit with it, how to use it, that's been really helpful, along with all the different projects that we do. So some of the projects that I've done this year include the Every 15 Minutes project, which was really big at the beginning of the year. Freshman Preview Day, which was the first day where all the freshmen come in. Gabe and I came in, and we made a video for that in one day. It was like half a day recording and then half a day of editing, get it out right away. That was a fun project, along with football games, the homecoming game, the Powder Puff game. That was all fun to record. And then, obviously, the superintendent visit as well. So all of that has kind of helped with, I love having an independent study, being able to work on it, year 2 with digital video design. But yeah.
Great. And then finally, what have you learned as a digital video student that will take with you into the future?
I'm just going to kind of start with like the pre-production. I've really kind of found out how to write a script. We've done some promotional videos for the Hawk's Nest. So writing out a script, putting in different camera shots to get what equipment to use, handing out to our actors, and then going through with that. And then on the day of whatever we're filming, being able to like coordinate with any teachers if need be, or any students around their schedule has been really helpful. Just learning about different cameras and different lenses. I have a personal camera I've been using for a while. I'm slowly learning about different lens sizes, what they do. Definitely can use that in the future, how lighting can affect a video, mic placement, like where it is even on the person can change how it sounds. So
Great.
it's great.
Well, thank you so much. You were a great help to the overall state superintendent visit. Much appreciated. Thank you. All right, so let's continue with the department celebrations that have. This is Mrs. Brenda Stilo, family consumer science teacher, but this is why she's here, tonight. So she is our CTE department chair. Okay, so just a few years ago, our departments that you've heard from tonight, they were all separate. They all had separate department chairs, and they were all very separate from one another. I tasked Brenda with being our first CTE department chair, and she's brought this group together like in the most wonderful way. So, Brenda, we have a couple of questions. I know it's
I know.
saying compliments. I understand that.
Well, because I think it's all of us. It's not just
it
me.
is. But we got two questions for
So,
Brenda here. and
anyway,
she's prepared.
okay.
What accomplishments, Brenda, are you most proud of since business, FCS, and technology engineering have joined forces under your leadership?
Okay, well, I think you started off just by saying that we are really together as a group. We collaborate, we support each other. We try to do things together. One time I was doing the gingerbread houses and I worked with Mr. Gain in his architecture, class. Sometimes my advanced foods will make food that's, sold in the Hawk's Nest. So we work together. And it never, way back, it wasn't that way, to be honest with you. We were all, separate, and we were always worried about our numbers. And like if somebody had a new class, it was like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? And as you can see, which I have never seen before, was your statistics on how we are so alike in the number of students that we have in our classes. So, I credit that to how we support each other, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a good feeling to be together as a group, as opposed to being separate and wondering what's really happening, So, so we work together on PD days, we collaborate on Wednesdays. We're just not against each other at all. We're just so together as a group. And I guess that's about it. I don't know. It's fun working with everybody. And fun, I mean, you just feel like part of something instead of just by yourself. So, yeah.
How is the continued focus on the post-secondary goal, right? That part
Right.
of Vision 2030. How has that impacted your department and then students at the high school?
Okay, so, to get students career ready and getting into that post-secondary, credit and so on, the advanced foods class has a ServSafe and the certification, which they have to pass before we go further into our course, such as, cooking or catering for other people. And so that's a 2-credit class or transcripted class with MATC. And that certification lasts for about 3 years. And I have some students that work in, like in McDonald's and other places around Grafton, and their supervisors really like the fact that they get certified. And so it has helped them even, before going off and choosing a career. So they get that 3 credits. The other thing is that child development, both 1 and 2, they get 3 transcripted credits from MATC. And many of those students, once they go through child development 1 and 2, and I know that someone in Rusty's internship class is volunteering, I think, at the elementary school. And so she has already told me, she's a junior, and she said, I'm going in, I'm going to be an elementary school teacher. So she's got that all planned. She knows where she's going to go. So, it helps, students with their career pathway as well. For business and technology department, they offer, I'm going to read a lot of this because I know more about my department. But anyway, even though we're still together, I don't know everything. They offer industry standard certifications. So 144 certifications have been earned in the past 3 years. And so those certifications come in like Microsoft Office, ethics, entrepreneurship, business foundations, personal finance. So they have had 144 certifications in 3 years. And then they do have, well, which we already touched upon, is the career internship that students actually get to go out on, get hands-on experience, you know, and it's a great way to determine, like, is this really the career for me? Or did I not like this so much? Maybe I should choose something else. So they're already getting that experience as opposed to just going into their first year of college and then finding out, oh, this isn't for me, I don't like this. Okay, so they get a little hands-on there in that class. They have grown their credit, their dual credit offering. They're up to 8 courses for a total of 25 credits from MATC and UW Oshkosh. So that was business and tech. Keep going?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, do you have anything else to add to that?
Well, I don't know if Rusty wanted to add anything, but I think we got, are we doing okay? Okay. Technology and Engineering Department, PLTW take, if you take all 4 classes, you can earn up to 10 credits through UW Green Bay. Mr. Gaines construction students, they earn 500 hours, you know, for their apprenticeship program. And of course, we know all about the autos program, and the students receive the ASE certification, and the automotive program has an agreement with Fox Valley for credit. And so I think that's about it. But one of the things that I wanted to say is that with the CT and everything, CTE department, everything we have to offer, it is so easy for students to at least have one post-secondary experience within all our classes. So when you count up all those people, all the students that sign up for our classes, you know, we're going to be up to 100% next year. So, any questions? Anything?
Thank you, Brenda.
Okay.
Much appreciated. All right, so. Next, we are proud to introduce Mr. Kevin Gain, the WTEA Educator of the Year. This banquet took place on March 6th, so very recent. Mr. Gain, come on up and let's talk about it.
The trophy or already?
Oh, yeah. Trophy here? You brought the trophy. There you go.
I didn't make this, by the way. I did. Somebody actually gave that one to me. So.
Yeah. Very, very well done. So, Mr. Gain, we have a couple of, so first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're super proud of you. Enjoyed very much, you know, watching you receive that award at your banquet on the 6th. And we just had a couple of things we wanted to follow up with you on. One of them being, what are you most proud of in terms of being recognized as the 2024 WTA Educator of the Year?
I think the biggest thing is that I wasn't really looking for it. All of a sudden, it just happened. And I think that's the most amazing part of really any award. It's like, oh my gosh, somebody noticed what I was doing beyond these walls. I mean, I get a lot of thank yous and from everybody. Mr. Manta even gave me a little staff shout out today at our faculty meeting. Get a few of those. But yeah, just to have somebody outside of these walls in another school recognize what I do, not just for students here, but for students throughout the state. And I know for a fact I've reached students beyond the boundaries of the state of Wisconsin also. And I think that's really the most amazing thing to me, is like, wow, just the surprise.
Excellent. I mean, the WTA, they made a great video dedicated to Kevin. It's about 6 minutes long. If you haven't watched it, I believe it's posted in our social media channels as well. One of the things they mentioned in there is his YouTube channel and how that has really picked up steam, not just here, but in the state of Wisconsin, beyond the state of Wisconsin, in terms of some of the wonderful videos that are on there where Kevin is showing students how to do things and just, you know, recording himself and posting to YouTube. So really, really cool. And that was a part of your recognition as well. So next question I have for you, how has the tech and engineering team embraced Vision 2030 with the inclusion of career and life key performance indicators? That's a new new piece. So how have you guys embraced that?
Well, I think for me personally, I was actually very excited when Scott brought this to us from the district as an initiative, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are things that we're currently doing in the classroom, where my construction students, as Brenda had mentioned, earn 500 apprenticeship hours here at the high school level as a part of an affiliation with the Southeast Wisconsin Carpentry Training Center. And so I'm very happy that students have that ability to take a course here for that post-secondary experience, and also tying in not just the career part, but the college part also. A lot of my students might have that idea like, well, I might not be a four-year person, and things like tomorrow's day of the ACT, they can score a manageable 15 for the ACT math portion and bypass what they would need for the Southeast Wisconsin Carpentry Training Center. So instead of having them, look the other way on something that might be, considered more college ready, it prepares them for them, and that gives me that opportunity for having that conversation with them, like, hey, you can do this. I mean, not just help the district, help yourself, and keep moving forward. I was also excited to see the part where we don't have baseline data yet as a district when it comes to the community service part. It's kind of a big NA right now, but I'm really driving for my students to have that intrinsic motivation of going, hey, let's use our skills to help the community of Grafton with whether it be building or fixing or what have you. Really reach out to the community, and I think that's going to help really everybody, students, community, districts.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Gain. Congratulations.
All right.
That was March 6th in the evening. And March 7th, Mr. Fullington, come on up, was named one of the Grafton Chamber 4 under 40 for his accomplishments within our community, and certainly giving of himself to our community and through the Chamber of Commerce. So, Nick, certainly proud of you, for being named one of the 4 under 40. Got some great pictures of you right here, receiving your award.
Just ready to take a photo. Take another one.
You were wearing a tie even.
Nice.
You look great, yeah, for sure. All right, Nick, so we're certainly proud of you, and I know that we'll talk to your students here just in a minute, but just a couple questions for you. What were you most proud of in terms of being recognized as one of the 4 under 40 by the Grafton Chamber?
So I'm terrible of accepting an award just of me. So I'm just going to turn this around. That when I think about that, it's more the people, right? The people that help out. When we do the Christmas parade, float for Santa. I mean, that's my students. I mean, they're a big part of that. When I did the Lions Star, I mean, that was the help from Mr. Gain. So it's more of a person award. So every time I reach out to Elizabeth, it's how can we get tech ed out there? How can we promote within the walls to get not just me, but Kevin Gain and the Mike Dodges and the rest of the department involved in the community. That was the big thing when I took this job, and I remember it's not just going to be about automotive. It's going to be how can we get the students, the tech ed name out into the community. And so winning the award means that I'm doing something, right? It means that we're getting the kids involved, we're getting tech ed involved. And that was my number one goal when I got this job. Is it's not just about me, it's not just about automotive, it's about tech ed as a whole, CT as a whole, trying to get that out in our name. So I'd say that's what I'm most proud about is promoting that, not just within the walls, but it's not always about automotive and competition. It's about how can we get tech ed out there. So
awesome. So next question for your ASE certification, right? You're going through the recertification process right now. How does this offer students, how does it positively impact their future post-secondary and career aspirations? How does this offering at Grafton positive for them lifelong?
So this is a loaded question, but like Scott mentioned, we're in the process of getting recertified as an MLR level school. There's probably a handful of us left in the state. So to be one of those 5 or one of those 10 schools to be MLR certified and sending those kids off to college is putting our kids up against anyone in the state. And then you add, we do ASC student MLR test or ASC student test. We take about 10 of them, A1 through A8, which covers everything on a car. So let that be brakes, engines, automatic transmissions, or manual driveline, all that stuff. They're gonna actually be taking their tests here in about a month. And hopefully they leave A1 through A8, AST, and MLR student certified. And that's a college level test. I mean, that's their final exam, usually the first year of college. And if we can get that done as a senior with an amazing passing rate, I mean, I think we're in the 95% that most students leave with that. I mean, that's incredible. So if we can get them those tests, I mean, even if they're not going to a post-secondary experience, to have that in their back pocket, say, a kid's going to go to construction management or welding, and they want a little side job to show someone, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I'm student ASC certified. That shows that they know what they're doing. And to be the only high school in the state that does that, tests kids, A1 through A8, AST, MLR, and then also have 16 college credits to Fox Valley. I mean, there's no one in the state that's doing that. So I push these kids, but they answer. I mean, and you'll see that here in a second when we go in and we keep winning competitions. It's a testament to, what we're doing, and especially the students who are putting in that work. I mean, especially in the end of May when graduation is right there, and I'm testing the heck out of them, and they don't back down. Then I use that data and say, hey, we didn't do well on one of these categories. How can I do better for the next group? So it's the ASC stuff is just it's amazing. What we do, the data stuff, giving the kids the accreditation for it, and then with the college credits, it's just what we're doing is just amazing. And then I'm proud of the kids for putting in all the work, especially towards the end of the season. So
Great. Well, big congratulations to you on your accomplishment. All right. So our last group to talk to this evening, we've got Aiden and Michael here. Come on up to the mic, gentlemen. Our technicians of tomorrow, champions, Grafton High School first place. Back in early March with this. You can see the picture that Nick sent to me as soon as they were named champions. Nick just texted me and said first place with a great picture of them. So, gentlemen, congratulations. You guys worked hard, I know, for more than just this year to get yourself and to earn the right to compete. I know you guys compete within the classroom just to be able to compete. So that's a really cool accomplishment as well. So we have some questions for you also. You can take the ones that you want. I know you guys have scripted this already here. So first one, what are the different aspects of the add-on competition? What's the most challenging component?
The different aspects of the add-on competitions, mostly you're basically going through what you would get certified in. So A1 through A8, that's what it is. But with the first station we went through was HVAC. That was basically all the components for HVAC system in a car. You kind of label it, you have your in your outlet kind of thing, and you have your temperatures and your pressures. Basically the general gist of an HVAC system. They don't go too far in depth with that. After that, we have like a measurement station where you do like a lifter bucket, and you do just like a cam lobe. You kind of just measure some things you would measure on a car, just as in if you're going from redoing an engine, like for AB, like a couple of weeks ago, he was doing an engine. Like as an Audi technician, that's pretty good for a, not even out of college yet. He's working on Audi cars, $100,000 cars. And then another one we worked on was the electrical station where we went through basic things that as a car you do voltage drop, voltage available, things he's been drilling into our heads since we were stepped foot in this like kind of area. Those are the things you kind of get down, you have to get down kind of things. And then the next one's engine, where you kind of basically just basic procedure, how do you do it, some parts ID with that, and then you go into differential health, differential checks, kind of part ID with that too. And then probably the better one is the interview station, where you talk to a person that does hire on a daily basis, talk through questions. It's not as long as a really short interview, but you get the general gist to ask questions. And after that, we have breaks where you do part ID, you do basically parallelism. That's just the different things you go through for diagnosing a car. And then you have tire balancing, which that one's kind of, self-explanatory once you understand it, but there's nothing really you can do much with that as long as the tire balance is perfect. You know, you're going to go straight down the road, no weeble wobbly in kind of your steering wheel. But I mean, I would say the most challenging component is you're there for almost a full school day getting question after question after question, just the mental toughness to go through and getting your hardest kind of best effort through the whole entire thing. I feel like that would be the probably the most challenging portion of it.
Great, thank you. How do you specifically prepare for the competition? Were there any partnerships or relationships that were helpful?
You specifically prepare for the competition by just relearning, restudying the same material, A1 through A8, like Aiden said. You just have to keep studying pretty much. And then a lot of the partnerships that were helpful were Summer Subaru, our Master Tech Vlad and Nate. They were a huge help. They asked us, or they helped us with all our questions. Like, they took time out of their workday and spent it with us, which was a huge help. And another help was Schmidt Bros with Mark, Todd, and Dustin. They helped us with the stations for the competition, as well as just getting info that we couldn't get and just helping us because we didn't have access to it, or we got it later than we should have. So,
And what was the car you were working on?
Subaru Outback.
Okay, awesome, very cool. How is the importance of ASE certification as a result of completing the auto program at GHS? How important is that ASE certification?
It's very important because if you're going into automotive after high school, you get to spend less money because you already have some classes that someone who isn't certified would have to take. And then if you're not even going into it, it's like Mr. Fullington said before, something you have in your back pocket and you can always use, and you can use it on your personal vehicle. You could save money with repairs, or you could help out other vehicles.
Awesome, great. All right, last question for you guys. What skills have you learned as an auto student that will positively impact your life long term?
I would say the skills that most helped us probably is just to pursue and just constantly fight through what obviously like is hard for you. Like sometimes, like it was a couple weeks ago, we were doing a test and obviously I'm not the best test taker. And let's say that test probably kicked my butt a little bit for the ASC portion because it just, they use words that you kind of have to know, and you'd kind of, as you're going through the test, you're like, well, I know that's not right, but I don't know what the right answer is. But it's just pursuing through that because obviously you guys work how many hours in a day, you constantly going through it, you guys get different things like his workload through the reaccreditation process. He was getting workload after workload, but he kept pushing through it. That's what he teaches us as kids. That's a big thing you want to take away from kind of this, I would say these 4 years of automotive is when you're going to the automotive industry, you're getting car after car after car because our master technician, Vlad, like some days he'd come in and be like, I'm still going to help you guys, but I have to still do 4 more cars, and he's only got 2 hours. Like you're getting your workload, you have to balance life, you have to keep pushing through it. You have to, and that's when you come down to, do you really know your stuff? When you have to go car after car after car and kind of knowing and balancing all the other things, that's, I would say, the best skill as an automotive student he teaches us is pushing through everything that you get thrown at you and use your time very wisely.
Great. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much and congratulations. So in closing, with our CTE portion of this, there's some special recognition I'd like to provide, and that's to Brenda. You know, she's been teaching for 38 years in family and consumer science, the last 22 years at Grafton High School. And, you know, Brenda will be leaving us at the end of the year, but we're just, you know, I couldn't imagine someone better to work with, Brenda, with everything you've done with CTE and how you moved it forward. So congratulations. It's not that easy. Okay, so in closing, you know, look at these March dates. March 11th, we had our NHS induction ceremony, National Honor Society. March 12th was our Hawks Grade Point Average Improvement Program the very next day. Our white coat ceremony on the 12th. These are all things that have happened in the last month at Grafton High School. So, you know, we continue to, I am very fortunate to be the principal of Grafton High School. We continue to do amazing things and provide great opportunities for staff members and students like we have here this evening. So it's a pleasure to be the principal here, and I thank you for the opportunities to share with you this evening about some of the things that we're doing. So thank you.
Any comments or questions for Mr. Manti or anybody that's in our audience?
So, Michael, I'm just curious, obviously a specialization in the autos. I'm curious how, say, some of your other classes are melded into the work you're doing in the autos and vice versa. How do some of those skills you learn there transfer into some of your other classes?
A lot of the skills is honestly just hard. It's like keep going at it no matter what, even if it looks like a bunch, you have to keep chipping away. And it's also balancing, like certain classes like autos, English. You need English to graduate, but you also need autos for us in the competition. Try to find a nice middle part where we could get both done at a good success rate.
Add on to his, like, she put in a little effort. I know she put in a little doing, and as in writing our resume and helping us honestly that make sure our grammar's correctly. Very wordy. But she is a very, I would say, very fabulous teacher. She knows how to teach kids right. But she also helped us through that. That's the main portion that helped us. Those two honestly almost come in. Obviously, every single aspect of any kind of job you get, you have to intertwine those two because you're writing emails, you're talking to patients. That's a big thing. Colleges don't really brush against that. They kind of just okay, this is how you do talk about how to do face-to-face conversations, meetings, you have emails, you have this, and she goes through that kind of thing, brushes over it a little bit more than she should, but it's obviously she's trying to get us ready for college plans, so.
And you're very well spoken tonight.
That's all I don't have a question, but I hope you all appreciate how articulate you two are and just impressive. Like, whether you work on cars or not, like those skill sets and the determination and then the ability to communicate, like, y'all are going to do fine with life. So keep doing whatever y'all are doing. It's really impressive.
Yeah, I just have a couple things to add. I mean, one, from all of our visits that we went to, from the elementary school to John Long to here, collaboration has been one theme that's been amongst all of them. Different groups working together, different classes working together, and it's great to see that all the way through from the elementary all the way through here through high school. The second thing, having the chance to be here when Dr. Underley was here, the pride and passion, that each of the departments had as they went through. I mean, and Gabe and Ryden, you guys captured that in your video. Just the students speaking to, Dr. Underley and explaining what they're doing. You could certainly see that, and all of that comes with success, and it's all been earned. It's hours upon hours of in the classroom, outside of the classroom, not only with the students but with all the educators as well. So congratulations to all of you. Great job. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. So you guys will stay through the next 4 things that I'm going to talk about, and then you can leave. Please stay, Brenda. So the first couple items we have on here, congratulations to GHS Technology Engineering teacher Kevin Gain, who was named the Teacher of the Year by the Wisconsin Technology Education Association. So what we've noticed is that when we have our presentations, if we put it in the agenda, sometimes people just look at our agenda, so it gets the news out a little bit more. So that's why there's some redundancies here, knowing that Scott was going to be having these people talk, but we still wanted to see it in print. And as we mentioned earlier, Mr. Fullington being recognized as that 4 under 40. And we also have another senior here, Michael, if you wouldn't mind coming to the microphone. GHS senior Michael McNabb, who just completed the basketball season as our all-time leading scorer at GHS with 2,157 points. So Michael, I was talking to him earlier, I remember it was just a couple of years ago that we had Hannah Bellinger, we were at Woodview recognizing her as the all-time leading scorer. And then now I think went to Truman, all-time leading scorer there, now is at Iowa State, and good luck to them as they head into March Madness. But Michael was also our Student of the Month last month for Rotary. And I wasn't able to attend because I was at a meeting, but Mr. Manti was able to go. And Michael's one of those unique people that basketball has been the thing that he's really focused on, but has done really well in school at the same time. So he's taking AP classes, doing well in school, but he's had this passion for basketball, and he's had that since so from middle school. I know middle school all the way through, and I remember Michael even coming to a Junior Hawks game out in New Berlin, and I don't know if they were seventh grade. I think they were seventh grade or something like. And you would have thought like the president showed up, like Michael, and he drives out to New Berlin for this thing, comes in, pays his own way in, and then goes over to the guys, and everyone's like, Michael McNabb's here. Michael McNabb's here. And he goes over, puts his hand in the huddle, and the kids are just like, it was like this really big deal. But he's used that sort of platform to encourage kids to do better. I talked to Coach James when we were naming him Student of the Month for the Rotary. In 4 years, he's our top scorer. He has the best defender on him. You have the crowd screaming his name and maybe not saying nice things to him. He's never received a technical. Like, he's kept his act together. He keeps his composure. He keeps the focus on the team, and has just really been a great role model for younger people to follow. He's a great role model for people like me that are in the stands to follow, because he just plays the game. He doesn't worry about what the officials are doing. He plays his game, and he's really good at it, which makes it more fun to watch him play. And takes it hard when he loses, but really celebrates as a team, and really doesn't have me in part of his picture. It's us. So Nick was talking about that too. I think Michael's done a really good job of representing the high school, our district, and we wanted the board to be able to recognize him and ask Michael to talk what his future plans are as we recognize him tonight.
So my future plans, I will be attending Northern Michigan University in Marquette, Michigan. I'm really excited to get up there. I've been up there a couple times, and it just felt like home to me, and it felt like a great place that I continue the legacy that I've built here, and to continue to represent Grafton High School the best way possible, and continue to work hard and inspire people even more than I have around here. And I'm really thankful for the opportunity. I'm thankful for everybody in the Grafton community, my family. I just want to thank God. I want to thank everybody for supporting me throughout my journey. It wasn't always easy at times. There was times that I felt like alone, but I was never really alone. I've had so many great people around me. I've built so many great relationships with the people in the Grafton community, and there's no place that I love more.
Even like having the youth tournament, I'm thinking of the 4th of July, he's there. You're at the corn roast, 4th of July corn roast. He's reffing games. Like, you're seeing him doing something with youth all the time, and being a good role model with that.
So I've been fortunate. I've been able to watch Michael play since 3rd grade. So it's been a phenomenal ride to watch you, and how you've represented yourself in the community and the school. And the hours are countless that you were in a gym probably by yourself, that no one knew. Well, they probably didn't know how you got in, but you were there and working and putting in the time. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Northern Michigan fans following along from Grafton.
Yeah, I'll add, I feel like Steve had an idea 4 years ago that you'd be standing there. I remember you talking to me about it. We've been at a ton of games, and it's been awesome getting to watch, take a lot of pictures. And I think I've told you this before, but super easy to cheer for. So it was cool going up. I was at Marquette for work. I was at an NMU basketball, a Northern basketball game, and the coach was right next to me and my clients. I got to talk to him, and he's like over the moon excited about Mike. He's like, I cannot wait for him to get here, and just all the things he said. I was like, well, hold on, we still got some games to go. So yeah, but it's been awesome to watch. So congrats.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Great.
So we just want to recognize you.
Yes.
Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you. Good luck.
And the last thing we want to talk about is our seniors here, Aiden and Michael, who took first place. And so I think you guys, you won like $5,000 worth of tools in that area, a couple of gift certificates for buying some other stuff and so forth. So, and I think Mr. Fulling, does the high school get something as well? Okay, and then they're going on and competing in the Skills USA is coming up as well. So we wanted to make sure they're recognized as well, but congratulations again to you guys. Big deal. So appreciate you coming. You're free to leave. Thanks for coming, all of you. We really appreciate that. I'm going to have Mr. Moore come up and talk for some of these other items, but appreciate you taking the time tonight and allowing us to recognize you. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Take a second to let the room clear out here a little bit. Ready? Okay. Well, with all the impressive things that Mr. Manti shared and Mr. Nelson shared in regards to our kids, both inside the classroom and out, I'm happy to give a report on our winter athletics season. We had a lot of student achievement there as well. And here we sit in late March, and we have a track meet under our belt and a softball game tomorrow. So that's just how quickly the school year moves and the athletic calendar moves. But over this winter, proud to say a lot of achievement on our student athletes. We're very proud of them. Girls basketball team were regional champions for the second consecutive season. Sarah Alkanovich was second team, Savannah James second team, and Marissa Morgan third team. They were all conference honorees. Sarah Alkanovich was also an all-state honoree, honorable mention. She, Kira Bryan, Kendall Conrad, Natalie Ernst, Josie Gerke, Marissa Morgan, Melanie Morgan, Amber Radke, Allison Wieselman, all received recognition as WBCA Academic All-State, meaning they had GPAs 3.5 or higher. The gymnastics team qualified for the state meet for the first time since 2018 and finished in 10th overall place. Elena Jarmus was Grafton's state individual competitor, along with the team competing as a group. Michael McNabb, we've covered him, first team, all conference, along with Juan Guerrero Hernandez, who was on the third team. They were all conference, all North Shore. Jack Marty, Jaden Teagues, Michael McNabb, Ian Cornelius, Tommy Lutz, and Michael Lewick received recognition as WBCA Academic All-State, which meaning, again, they had GPAs 3.5 or higher. The boys All-State teams don't get announced for a little bit yet. Wouldn't be surprised to see Michael's name on that as well. The boys swim and dive team finished in second place at sectionals, and Gabe Salko, who you met through the video production, qualified for state in the 500 free. The competitive cheer team qualified for state and finished in 5th overall place. In wrestling, the following individuals qualified for sectionals this season: Ellie Federal, Audrey Hansen, Jacob Quint, and Tom Schumacher. The dance team members: Abby Bigler, Aubrey DeMaster, Juna Eberman, Taryn Flagg, Genevieve Harms, Elena Jarmus, and Elena Petrie were all recognized as WACPC Scholar Athletes, meaning GPAs of 3.5 or higher. So a lot of achievement in winter. We're looking forward to more in spring. So we're very proud of all of our young men and women in our athletic program. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Moore. We also want to recognize our vocal and instrumental students. We had 13 vocal events and 9 instrumental events qualified for the state solo and ensemble competition that will be held at UWM on April 27th. Congratulations to the following students from John Long Middle School: Caleb Brennan, Asher Kagamba, and Mason Rigg. And from GHS, Abby Bigler, Shaunak Chadahurier, Lucy Day, Piper Flagg, Alexa Gengler, Lincoln Griesart, Tandy Hardis, Anna Kroll, Elizabeth Kroll, Izzy Lubeck, Maya Looning, Jacob Olson, Matthew Olson, Brogan Ringgold, and Graftonics, and the Woodwind Ensemble. So good luck to all of them on April 27th. Then as a reminder, this is our final week of the 3rd quarter, and we will be going on to spring break starting next Monday, so from March 25th through April 1st. Then we come back on that Tuesday the 2nd. There is a school board election. So there are 3 candidates running for the 2 open seats on the board. We have the profiles of the candidates are posted on our district website. And then our referendum information, we continue to have presentations both internally and externally. We were at the high school today with their faculty meeting. And then on Wednesday, March 20th at 10 o'clock, we're at the Grafton Senior Center. And then Wednesday, March 20th at 6 p.m., we're at John Long Middle School. And then next week, there's people, if they want to come in for a Q&A with myself, it's Tuesday, March 26th, from anytime from 3 to 5 to come in with questions, or Thursday, March 28th, from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the morning. So early voting starts tomorrow. People are able to go in and early vote, or come back on the 2nd and vote in person. We're just asking people to be informed and vote on the 2nd. And then District Robotics Expo will be held on Saturday, April 13th at Grafton High School. All 3 levels of the district's LEGO robotics teams will be showcasing their work. And April is School Library Month. There's not a proclamation yet for that, but we want to make sure we recognize our librarians, the importance that our libraries play in our schools, and the work that they do with our students. So thankful for all the work they do. And with that, that concludes the superintendent's report. Oh, excuse me. Actually, I have the GEF statement. GEF does have a statement. A Night of Giving, GEF's largest fundraiser, is scheduled for April 12th beginning at 6 p.m. The event will feature the 2024 Golden Apple winners, the grant winners, and the annual reverse raffle. There will be a silent and live auction, apple pull, and wine pull. Tickets are on sale now. Reverse raffle tickets are still available, with about 250 are sold, so there's plenty more to purchase. Jessica Van Sluis can be contacted to purchase them. We hope to see you all there. There were over 25 teacher and support staff nominations for the Golden Apple Awards, and there were 12 grants submitted, and all of our schools were represented in the grant process. So support GEF on April 12th at 6 o'clock. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Any questions for Jeff? A lot of information, a lot of great things, so thank you very much. All right, so next we will go to public comment. Is there anyone interested in being heard? Come on up. Name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Melissa Custer. I'm on 914 3rd Ave in Grafton. I'd like to speak to you tonight to address the lack of transparency and communication from the Grafton School District in regards to our families with special needs children. To begin with, as far as I can find, there is no special education policies and procedures, guidance, or manual on the Grafton School District website. As far as I know, there should be one. However, it should be easily accessible to parents. I brought this up previously several months ago to Amanda Mack during a Special Needs Parent Advisory Council meeting. Previously, the link was broken. Now when I look, the special education section of the district website has changed, but there is no special education policies and procedure manual on there for parents. The second issue I would like to address is the district's procedural safeguards that they are legally obligated to provide. The district's emailed version has a dark orange background with black text, which makes it difficult to read and practically impossible for anyone to print out. I tested a few pages myself, and the background and text colors, the pages curl on the edges. They do not provide a printer-friendly version. The procedural safeguards document on the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction website has a plain white background, which means that Grafton chose to do this. I don't know why, I could guess, but I would like to request that you change the dark orange color back to a plain, simple white background so that it's more easily accessible. Special needs parents have enough on their plates without making life unnecessarily difficult for them. This was another item that I had previously brought up to Amanda, but I am unsure if she had passed this on to you. I just felt it was important to let you know. The other concern I wanted to mention is the recent letter to Woodview families from Principal Jill Schwensen. In this letter, she casually mentioned that they will have to combine 2 of the comprehensive special education classrooms for next school year because of the upcoming 5K bubble class and the need for an extra classroom. A group of special needs parents that this directly affects is really disappointed that this was decided and stated in a school-wide email and that the families of these children weren't briefed or had it explained to them prior to the letter being sent out. Some of us did schedule a meeting on Tuesday morning to discuss this with administration. However, I still felt it important to bring up tonight. They had to split this same group into 2 rooms 2 years ago, and now they feel like it's fine to shove them together. The students in these classrooms are the district's most vulnerable children. We understand the difficulty administration faces, but the fact of the matter is they know the parents and they claim they appreciate the trust and relationship that has been built over the years. The lack of transparency has been an ongoing issue time and time again, and that breaks the trust families have with the district. We also feel that we need transparency on what is going to happen to these children if the referendum doesn't pass. Integrity is the essence of everything successful. Thank you.
I think that is it for public comment. We'll move on to item D, the personnel report.
Yes, we have two informational items for the board. Kaylin Knauer, District Grounds and Maintenance was hired, and Dylan Reichwald, Maintenance, Grafton High School was hired, so informational only.
Any questions? Okay. Item E comes from the Finance Committee meeting on March 11th.
At the Finance Committee meeting, Jordan Schultz from Huffman Keel reviewed the design proposals for services related to the referendum project at John Long. The evaluation of the proposals were shared with the committee and everyone there. While both proposals were rated positively, the recommendation to the committee and from the committee to the board is to pursue a contract for design services with Growth Design Group, and Topher is going to share some more about that.
Yeah, so just to kind of recap what Jordan shared in the conversation that was had at Finance Committee, we received two proposals for the design services related to expanding John Long Middle School should the referendum be successful. Jeff, myself, Jordan, and Jamie Schofield all evaluated those proposals, and then those evaluations were brought forward to Finance. Again, both firms, well respected in their arena, both have had successful work done on similar projects. And their fees really were very, very comparable, especially considering the pre-referendum services that we're getting right now using Growth as a consultant. The kind of the tipping factor is our work with the Growth Design Group team, particularly Rob, who obviously was the lead designer really on our elementary projects from the previous referendum. We're extremely happy with those and happy with the work that he's done. So knowing that he would be able to continue working with us is a big positive, right? In addition, some of the subs that were part of the Growth Design Group, like Point of Beginning, we've worked with them, have a very good relationship with them, so that was a positive as well. And then you also have the fact that you would have some nice continuity going with Rob being very aware of what this project needs moving forward. And that's kind of an advantage when it comes to getting things put in place in the right order in a timely manner to get the project completed successfully. So we had administrative recommending Growth Design Group, and you now have the Finance Committee recommending to the full board that we pursue a contract for those design services with Growth Design Group.
Any other questions for Topher or for the Finance Committee based upon the recommendation? Okay, we were there. We got to see the scoring that gave Growth the recommendation as well as the discussion. So seeing there being no discussion, I would look for a recommendation for the district pursuing agreement with Growth Design for the architectural designs for the referendum project.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? None. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that passes. So thank you to the Finance Committee and for your work in getting to that recommendation. Then it looks like we have a couple of informational items from the Finance Committee, JLMS transportation guidelines as well as LBC.
Yep, we also discussed the potential for fifth grade, with the potential for fifth grade being moved to John Long, possible adjustments to the guidelines used for middle school transportation. Currently, fifth graders are eligible for transportation if they live over 1 mile from school, while middle and high school students are eligible if they live over 2 miles from school. The primary impact being some fifth graders south of Highway 60 who are eligible for transportation to Kennedy that would not be eligible under the current guidelines for transportation to John Long Middle School. And then we also discussed LBC, learning-based compensation adjustment. Administration brought forward a plan to increase compensation for learning-based compensation from $100 to $125 per day. This would take effect for the upcoming summer sessions and would later be added to teacher salaries in the 25-26 school year pending board approval.
Informational only. Anybody have any comments or additional questions from our discussion? Okay, thank you, Jerry. Item G, marketing and communication meeting.
Can we take that, Sean? Oh. You want me to? Or do you want to? Yeah, that's fine. No, that's fine. We met as a team and reviewed the final flyer that we sent out that people should have gotten in their mailboxes. I got mine on Saturday, so for Saturday or Monday. But we reviewed that and just talked through our presentations that we've been doing and just making sure that we have communication that for the community to be aware of the upcoming referendum and the why behind it.
So everyone should have received that at this point, and that's the last mailing that we'll have that will go out at this point.
That's correct.
And then we'll just continue on with our community sessions. Okay, so thank you to the Marketing and Communication Committee for all your work on getting that information in paper and out to people's mailboxes. Item H, student overnight trip request.
Yes, we have one request that we asked for board approval for. It's for HOSA, for the State Leadership Conference, which is at Chula Vista Resort and Conference Center. It's April 14th through the 16th, and opportunity for our students for leadership, for state leadership through HOSA. You can see on the back, the lodging and the food, and she's working to get a sponsor to be able to do that. And I don't see the names attached, but they were. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, they are. I remember seeing those. But we would ask for board approval for this great opportunity for our students.
All right, any questions on the HOSA trip request? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the request?
So moved.
Second.
Additional discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, and that passes as well. Item I, Grafton referendum for the EMS Village President, Dan Delort. Please come on up.
Nice to see your meeting went longer than mine.
If you want to come over to the microphone.
Thank you very much for having me in today, and we really enjoyed the presentation Jeff and Topher did at the village board regarding the referendum for the school district. What you're seeing on the screen here right now is really indicative of a cooperation between four distinct townships and, I'm sorry, 2 townships and 2 villages. We've gotten together over the last 2 years and tried to figure out a way, what are we going to do with our fire department? We all agree Grafton's a great place to be, right? I mean, we all love to be here, and it's growing, and that is a double-edged sword. People come to me and say, don't develop, and I have other people saying, we want our taxes to stay down, so develop. So what's happened over the past couple of years is, of course, we've grown. We've got a great retail area out east of here, and what we're finding out is we're really having some challenges in being able to staff our fire department. How many of you work on a volunteer organization? Well, we're all volunteers here, but how hard is it to find volunteers? It's like next to impossible. At church, with the Lions, with the Sons of American Legion, it's really hard to find people to come to come and volunteer to be a firefighter. Go to the next slide here once. So we're coming through to ask about a referendum, and our referendum is a little bit different than yours because our referendum will, in fact, increase the tax levy. We have to increase the tax levy. Our challenges are that, as all of you are aware, we just can't go and say, hey, we need to increase the tax levy because that's just not what the state allows us to do. The state pretty much tells us what regulations we have to hit, but they don't really have a way to fund us very well. So when we have to find something special, we have to ask the community if they'll give us room at the top of their tax levy. Interestingly enough, there are 7 things, if we include a great school district, it's 8, but there are 7 things a village is responsible for. We're responsible for getting clean water into your buildings. Also, the dirty water to get out, to be able to make sure that you have streets that you're able to get to work in, to make sure that the garbage is taken out. We've done a much better job of garbage in the last couple of months. Also, fire and EMS. Those are 7 things that we are responsible for doing. And it would be really poor government if we didn't realize we have a problem with our fire department that is going to affect us in the years to come. What we're really looking at doing is getting out in front of what we believe is going to be a big challenge. A couple years ago, we did a Wisconsin policy forum. The communities in Ozaukee County went and asked an independent think tank to see what we could do and what's the state of our EMS. And what we found out is the response times are getting longer and longer and longer, and that the number of people that respond to our emergency medical services and fire services is down. So we have a real crisis developing, to which they said, we really would suggest you do, is you all join forces and combine your departments. That didn't really work out because I think there's a lot of municipalities in our county that would like to be able to take care of it on ourselves. But the 4 municipalities and township would be Town of Saukville, Town of Grafton, Village of Saukville, and Village of Grafton got together to say, this is what we think is in our best interest. The current firefighting EMS levels and staffing are insufficient to meet the needs of a growing need for our services. Second, we have identified the need to hire 13 full-time firefighters. Now, we're not going to be a full-time fire department. We're still going to rely on our part-timers. We kind of refer to them as volunteers, but that's really a misnomer because all through this, they have been paid, not real well, but they've been paid to show up at fires, paid to train, and paid to be on call. What we need at this point in time is to be able to find a way to hire 13 individuals to be able to create this department that's going to be able to do 2 things. We're going to be able to have 3 ambulances out at any one time within a 50 square mile service territory, 3 ambulances, or a combination of 2 ambulances and 1 fully staffed fire truck out at any time, 24/7, 365. In the Village of Grafton, we do a great job of being able to get out within 4 to 5 minutes. We were out in front of it. We hired some full-time workers, some firefighters and EMS. Our challenge is the second call and the third call. And oftentimes, as you kind of figure out, we have a second ambulance. It's like people hear the siren and they pick up the phone and say, hey, I want an ambulance too, or I'd like a fire truck out at my house. So what happens is that's where we get into the trouble, that the second and third calls may be 7, 10, 12, 14 minutes as we pull people in. I've been in meetings with Chief Rice, and he's sitting there with his cell phone looking to see who's going to respond. Does he have to go out? And that's really what's happening at this point in time, is our chief and assistant chief are actually working like firefighters. And because the state imposed levy limits, the village and town of Grafton and the town of Saukville must seek approval from the taxpayers. We're going to put it out to you to see, is this something that you find would be of value to have a fire department that's going to be able to respond within 4 to 5 minutes, within 24/7, 365. Go to the next slide. So, and why are we doing this? Because if you kind of look over on this point, our calls for service are up 86% since 2015, where staffing is down 18% in Grafton. For Saukville, the calls are up 52%, and the staffing is down 44%. So there's a real need there. And yes, we still are able to do it today, but how long we're able to do that, we don't believe it's a very rosy picture. So that's why we want to be able to come forward. And go to the next slide. So option 1 is that we add 13 additional staff to the proposed Grafton and Saukville department. The Grafton and Saukville department would act as its own district. And what there would be is there would be representatives from the towns and the villages that would basically tell the rest of the municipalities what the department would look like. What's proposed here is staffing, benefits, supplies, and basically the gasoline and the diesel that needs to get our vehicles out with those 13 staffers. Option 2, if we decide not to do that, is what we're going to experience is a decrease in response time and a strain on paid on-call and volunteer personnel, resulting in a more rapid decline in these staff. And today we had one of our firefighters or part-timers just resign. He said, I'd work out of home, but at night I'd go out on 3 calls, He said, I come home and then I gotta go to work. I can't do that anymore. And that's what's happening is a lot of our volunteers now no longer work in the village, and their employers don't give them time off. A lot of our workers are working in Milwaukee, in Germantown, in Sheboygan, and they can't respond like we used to respond with a volunteer department. Next slide, please. So here's the way it breaks out. What we're looking to do here in Grafton is we need to have leaders that run these squads. And in order to have 24/7, 365, we need 3 teams. And on those teams in Grafton, we would have 4 firefighters. 1 would be a captain, and 3 would be paramedic firefighters / engineers. The engineers will really drive the trucks, and they would do some maintenance on those vehicles as well. But that gives us a staff of 4. In addition, we would hire an additional deputy chief. That deputy chief would be responsible for training. Let's not forget, our fire chief right now is responsible for administration of the department, but oftentimes he's actually out fighting fires or on rescue calls. Second thing is that we would want to have our deputy chief, Matt Karpinski, spends almost all of his time doing inspections, fire inspections, not only for the village of Grafton, but for the village of Saukville. In addition, Saukville's got some stake in the game because they would have 3 lieutenant paramedics and 3 firefighter paramedics. That combined team gives us the availability to put out 3 ambulances at any one time, or 2 ambulances and a fully staffed fire truck. Go to the next slide, please. So the proposed hiring of additional staff consolidating the Grafton Saukville Department would increase paramedic coverage, improve response time, and improve emergency response reliability. So what we have right now is we have 9 full-time positions in Grafton and 3 full-time positions in Saukville. Those right now are funded by ARPA money that came from the county. The county came to us and originally said they were going to get $5 million through the entire county for EMS service. They cut that back to 3.2. And then we were able to work with the supervisors to get that increased to 3.8 million. So we actually have paid for several firefighters over the last 3 years, just getting paid last year to the amount of $800,000. When we hit 2025, that funding is not there anymore. We all know what ARPA funding's like. It's like, what do you do with $1 million? Somebody asked me that question like they did at the candidate forum. What do you do with $1 million? My first question is going to be, is that recurring or just a one-time gift? One-time gifts are very, very hard to subsidize down the line. So again, we would add 9 full-time positions in Grafton, 3 full-time positions in Saukville, and we'd add that deputy fire chief. Next slide. So this is the actual referendum question, and I'm sure you guys went through this with your referendum. It can't be simple. So it's basically under state law, the increase of levy of the Village of Grafton for the tax to be imposed for the next fiscal year, 2025, is limited to 3.558%, which results in a levy of $9,233,828. Shall the Village of Grafton be allowed to exceed this limit and increase the levy for the next fiscal year, 2025, for the purpose of enhancing EMS and fire protection services, including but not limited to hiring and retaining of additional fire and rescue personnel by a total of 16.7%. Yes, our levy would go up 16.007%, which results in a levy of $10 million, about $10.7 million on an ongoing basis. The interesting thing is it doesn't go away. That money has to go to the fire department and only to the fire department in perpetuity. So that's what we have for the Village of Grafton. Next slide will be the Town of Grafton. They're going to referendum as well. They're going to be approximately $400,000. We'll have those numbers in a second. You can go next slide. Town of Saukville is going to go to referendum. Basically, our expenditures will double for the Town of Grafton, the Village of Grafton, and the Village of the Town of Saukville. Now, it's interesting. The Village of Saukville has levy rooms, so they do not have to go to referendum. So if the majority of the people vote yes, it's pretty simple. The Village of Grafton, the Town of Grafton, Town of Saukville residents approve it. Basically going to happen for the Village of Grafton, we'll have about $1.4 million added to the levy, 372 in the Town of Grafton and 205 in the Town of Saukville. Next slide. So what that means to us is the average house, I know you guys are going to throw something at me, but the average house, price of the house in Grafton is about $279,000. So that on a $279,000, that would mean your taxes would go up approximately $269. So what we've said on that is really the cost of a Netflix subscription on a monthly basis. About $21, $22 a month would be your increase in taxes for this whole time. For those of you who have a house that's worth more than that, it would be approximately $94 per $100,000. How do we figure this out? Well, basically, we use the North Shore, the North Shore agreement, which is 33% on equalized value, 33% on population, and 33% of the amount of fire calls each one of the jurisdictions have. So it's equally split in a way that gives us the availability to be able to have a fair cost. Why is Grafton 1.4 million and the town of Grafton is $372,000? Because we have a lot more calls. We have town of Grafton's about 3,000. Village of Grafton is just over 12,000 people and a heck of a lot more of a value. Next slide. If the people vote no, well, it's back to the table we go, just like you guys do. If you guys don't get your referendum, of course, we're going to have to go back to the table and come up with a different idea here. But frankly, what we're telling you is that we don't believe it's sustainable, long-term sustainable for us to go on like we are. That's why we are, asking our taxpayers, if it's important to you, vote yes. If it's not, well, then vote no. But we, of course, would like to recommend that you look at the facts. You can find the facts on our website. There's a big red bullet point that says 2024 referendum question. Election day, of course, we all know. For those of you who are running, I'm not, but for those of you who are running, we know it's Tuesday, April 2nd. Early voting starts, absentee voting starts tomorrow at the village. So if you're going to be out of town, you can go there. And any questions that you have?
Questions for Dan?
What would you say to someone that looks at going from 12 to increasing by 108%? Someone who's hesitant about that and just the sheer doubling of the department.
So I guess I would say to them is, what do you expect in ambulance services, fire services? The fact of the matter is we're not just a fire department anymore. About 90% of our calls are ambulance calls. And we get called to pick people up off the floor. We get called to pick up people who have obviously overdose. We get called for people who have medical emergencies all the time. I would just look and say, for the last 5 years, you guys have, our tax rates have been steady. They've been steady. They have not gone up, even though we've increased our CPI by about 27%. So in the last couple of years, our taxes have stayed the same. And the village has absorbed that cost of the fire department through development. So we can't continue to develop and expect that dollar amount to keep up with the growth that we need. What we're finding is that an independent group told us that our fire services is not sustainable, that we have to come up with a plan. And what's really interesting is Port Washington, Cedarburg, Germantown, and Grafton are all going for a referendum. The interesting thing is we are the only one that's combined 4 separate municipalities. Why have we done that? Well, it's going to be better funding, and long term, it's going to be cost savings. Lastly, this is our shot right now. The interesting thing is that Saukville is growing like a weed. They're going to add probably more percentage growth. And this whole process is going to allow our levies to be changed year to year based on how their population grows, what their value is going to be, and also how many calls that they have. So these costs will probably vary year to year. But the $1.478 million that we're asking for right now is to be able to help us fund a department that's going to be sustainable, and it's going to be the expectation, what we hear from most of the people. They really do want a reliable fire department with ambulance services. Does that answer your question, Blair?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what happens if all 3 of the referendums don't pass? What if all three do not?
All 3 do not. We go back to the table.
So if 1 does and 2 don't, then you have to go back. It's an all or nothing.
The linchpin is Grafton, because Grafton is approximately 57% of the cost of this department in providing the majority of the manpower at this time. If it doesn't pass in Grafton, we're going to have to go back to their drawing board. If it doesn't pass in the town is going to have to find a way to be able to fund a certain percentage of that. They're going to have to go back to the table. If it doesn't pass throughout, we have to go back to the drawing board and we're gonna have to look at, maybe to come back with another referendum that would be lower in dollar amount, see if that's acceptable to the village. The fact of the matter is that right now, it's impossible, almost impossible to hire two groups of people, police officers and firefighters. They're very, very hard. And the fact of the matter is people think firefighters are relatively inexpensive. I'm going to tell you right now, firefighters are probably, with benefits, all told, between $110,000 and $130,000 by the time we're done with benefits and kit and the whole work. So it's an expensive proposition, but again, it's an investment in our community. Our community's not going to get any smaller. We know that.
Any other questions? Well, thank you for coming in
Thank you
and
very much for having me.
sharing that.
Thanks so much.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, that takes us to adjournment. So the Board of Education will consider a motion to convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85, Section 1, Subsection C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility for purpose of considering 1, preliminary notice of non-renewal of teaching contracts, 2, teacher compensation, and 3, performance-related data of the superintendent for a quarterly review. Do we have a motion to go to closed?
So moved.
Second.
A first and a second. We will do a voice roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And yes, we are closed. Thank you.